Hello and welcome to the latest instalment in my Bass Lick of the Week series. Before we dive into the line itself, please hit the like button, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Okay, so this week's exercise is a slap and pop groove, and we're going to be using a couple of slightly more advanced techniques in the course of this line. We're going to be using the double popping technique, and we're also going to be using some pitched fretting hand slaps, and we'll talk about each of those elements as we get to them. Okay, so the first bar of this exercise is going to sound like this. Let's hear that again. Okay, so we're going to begin with a slapped D, 5th fret of the A string, and then we're going to play a double popping lick. We're going to be playing this as a 16th note triplet. And what's going to happen here is we're going to play 3 ghost notes. We're going to play a slapped ghost note on the A string. We're then going to pop a ghost note on the D string with the first finger, and then the second finger is going to pop a ghost note on the G string. So slap, pop, pop. That's going to be our triplet. And it's one of those techniques where it's a lot more difficult to do this slowly than it is to do it up to speed. That kind of thing. So we're going to make sure, you're going to need to make sure you're muting the strings effectively as you perform that triplet. Now, that can be a little tricky to get into if it's not something that you've done before. People typically either pop notes with their first or their second fingers, and it's a good idea to be able to use both, just in case you want to throw in some slightly more rhythmically advanced techniques, such as this one. If you've never done this double popping thing before and you want more tuition on this, there is an entire course devoted to it on the Bassline Publishing website, so do check that out if you're unsure about this technique. But essentially what we're doing on the first beat is this. We're going to come in on beat 2 with another ghost note with the thumb. It feels really natural to play that that flick of the wrist, if you like. Slap, pop, pop, and then come back with another thumb stroke, which is what's happening here. So ghost note at the beginning of the second beat, and then we're going to play the B down at the 2nd fret. And you can hear that double popping thing is really just working as like a rhythmic decoration at this point. Now, as we finish off this bar, that B is going to be tied into the 3rd beat. Pop the octave, play the B again, and then we play the open A. And because we're effectively using a power chord shape, not so much here, but when we get down here, you can use your second finger, as I've spoken about in some of the previous exercises, just to sit on the E string and mute it. Again, it's one of those things that I've said this in some of the previous videos. I do it instinctively without really thinking, but it does stop that open E from ringing in the background. Anyway, that's the first bar. If you can get comfortable with that bar, the rest of the exercise is going to become a little bit easier because it's very much based on these ideas. So spend a bit of time on that first bar if you possibly can. Moving into the second bar, we're going to play pretty much the exact same thing. So we're going to open up with our 16th note triplet, played with the double popping technique. This time, instead of going down to the B, we're going to move up to an F. So up to the F at the 8th fret position. So slap, pop, slap on the F, and then open A string again, as we did in the first bar. Like that. So bars 1 and 2 together. And again. Okay, so really just the same thing played twice, just moving that second note from a B up to an F in the second bar. In the third bar of the line, we're going to be playing pretty much the same thing as we had back in the first bar. What we're going to do here is the slap, pop, slap on the B, and then we've got a couple of ghost notes on the D string, and that's really just there. Those are really just there to set up what happens in the 4th bar. Okay, so let's take a look at that 4th bar. We're going to be playing this line. It's really quite heavily syncopated. And this is where our pitched fretting hand slaps come into play. So we're going to be playing a popped D on the G string. Use your first finger for that note. And then you're going to bring your fourth finger in to hammer on to the B at the 9th fret of the D string. Now, the only thing we're doing with the picking hand is popping that D. The B is being generated entirely by the fretting hand, so it's a pitched fretting hand slap. We have a 16th note rest, and then the thumb's going to come in and slap that B as well. We have another thumb slap with the B, and then we're going to do the same thing again. On the final one of these, we're going to play pop the D for a third time. We're going to play the popped D, the pitched fretting hand slap, and then immediately play a thumb stroke. We're going to get that rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of thing. It's a very unusual fill, and some of these techniques will be quite unusual to you if you've only ever used conventional slap techniques of double popping and using the pitched fretting hand slap. They're quite unusual slap bass elements, but they can be very, very valuable if you want to make play more advanced lines. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the exercise and play through from there. And then you're going to play through it for a second time, obviously. So the key to getting this right really is just to concentrate on that first bar, as it is with many of these exercises. Get that first bar under your fingers. The next couple should fall into place, and then you can spend a bit of time on that fourth bar. Which is, there's not tons of notes being played there, it's just the rhythm can be quite tricky, and the rehearsing the sequence of what hand plays what and when. Just need to do that slowly to begin with, and over time and with a bit of practice you'll be able to speed it up to the actual tempo. Okay, that is it for this week's bass groove. In terms of the tone that I've used here, because this is a slap bass lick, I've pretty much got everything turned up full on this bass. So both pickups being used, tone controls wide open. Because this is a jazz style instrument, it gives you this sort of gives me the perfect tone for slap bass on this instrument. If you can do the same, it's going to give you a good sound for when you're working on this line. Thanks for checking out the latest instalment in my Bass Lick of the Week series. If you'd like to download the PDF worksheet and audio files for this exercise, just click on the link in the description below. And if you enjoyed this lesson, please head over to basslinepublishing.com to check out my full range of video courses. Okay, I'll see you next week for another bass groove.